Hello, everyone, and welcome to Having Juice with OJ with your host, Oliver. I am here today with Brendan Cellucci and Adam Holland, two of my good friends from high school. And we're just going to start spitballing about your baseball careers and, how living life to the fullest and all that means the world to us. So, Cellucci and Adam, obviously, you two have both been big on the mindset of rise and grind. Like you guys, ever since I've known you, you two are the hardest working. You guys are the first person posting in the morning about you working out. The last person talking about working out. So, was this something that happened overnight, or you've had for your entire careers in life?
You got it, man.
I got it. All right. The influence first came obviously with Kobe, like the whole idea of the Mamba mentality. You're outworking not only yourself but everybody else. I think that's something that I took into account in my life, and I think we've talked about it multiple times. I think the cool thing about that grind that first of all, not only do you become really proud of yourself for the work that you're putting in, but also it becomes sort of addictive. You start to feel yourself getting stronger, feel yourself getting better, have a better attitude when you wake up, have a better attitude about life. And when you're able to do that, it just becomes addicting and you just want more of it and more. It's like that serotonin that you don't want it to stop. And that's basically how I look at it. And when it comes to the competitive aspect of it, I mean, I always think there's somebody out there working as we speak right now. There's somebody out there that's trying to be better than me on the field. There's someone that's trying to be stronger than me in the weight room. And the same for every other aspect of life. There's somebody filming a podcast out there. And that's the competitive aspect of it that you want. I want to be better than everybody. I don't want to just be better than people that are in my way. I want to be better than everybody. That's just how it is. I think of it personally.
I think that's a great point. I mean, I don't have it tattooed on my body like Chooch does.
Show it out for the camera. Show it for the camera.
Mentality. But in reality, it's a good question because it kind of started as soon as I was born. I come from a very large family, as you guys know. I'm the youngest of 7. My mom was the youngest of 5. My dad was the youngest. We were always kind of a family of being the youngest and always wanted to be the best. Obviously the youngest gets a stigma, but for me, being an athlete and just being in school, anything, I always wanted to be the best. I want to be better than my brother. I want to be better than my older brother, my other sister. So from a young age, I've always was looked upon as you got to surpass your brother Evan. You got to surpass, Christian. You got to surpass who's ever next to me. And when it came to sports, school, music, anything, I just always want to be number one. I watched my parents work and grind and always be on top of their game, always go the extra mile to, push themselves to give us the best life. So from that point on, I applied it to my whole life. I applied it to everything I do. I want to be the best. I want to be on top. And to this day, it's got me where I'm at. So I can't complain.
So obviously sports are something that have created that attitude for all of us, I think.
Right.
Playing not only baseball, but trying out a lot of other sports and,
Exactly.
Really getting into that mindset that you need to be the best version of yourself at every single day.
Every day.
24/7, 25/8. And that's something that has affected all of us. So how would you say that sport and that grind of just doing something that you love that much, has that leaked into your real life experiences with work, the workload, all of that? Obviously it has, but I would love to hear.
It definitely has for sure. I mean, everybody always says, athletes, you can bring in everything you learn on the ball field or on the court or, in the gym, you can bring it to real life. Getting up early, discipline, being obedient to one, your body, but two, as a team itself, no employer is going to hire you if you can't work within a system, you can't work within a team, especially if you can't work yourself. If you're not doing your job, then you're messing up the next person. So being able to, learn from, getting up early to being obedient to, and making sure I'm on time for whatever it may be. You're early, you're early if you're on time, or you're on time if you're early, as you say. So I've always prided myself in, being on time, being early, like you said, being the first in the room. At the same time, being able to cope with failure, being able to cope with, not getting what you want. I remember in high school, I wanted a certain number. I wasn't able to get it because of where I was at. I didn't let it deter me. I wanted to bat this person. I wanted to bat at this place in the lineup. I wanted to be the point guard. I wanted to bring the ball to the court. It's not going to happen every single time. Being able to deal with those, curveballs, being able to deal with those, things that are going to kind of try to blockade you moving forward has ultimately came from sports. Ultimately came from, failing, trying again, persevering, and persevering. So
For sure.
Well said. Well said.
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So let's focus on baseball right now, because that's how us three honestly became boys. Freshman year, young selves, all going through a lot of different issues and also puberty. What would you like? When did you start taking baseball seriously, and when did you like see that you could be that guy, like you were that good, or like you felt like you could continue on?
I think, there was never really a different path for me growing up. That was baseball was like, it was tunnel vision from day one, from when I was younger. I always loved throwing. I always loved pitching. And coming up, like, it just grew and it grew more and more. And when we were all able to go to Penn Charter and meet and stuff like that, and I was able to go to like a nice private school for baseball, that was when it kind of became clear. It's like, hey, I might have a future in this. And then year after year, we like built, we got stronger, we got faster, we got better. And that we developed that culture at Penn Charter to be able to push each other to be better too. So having that culture and having that be totally visible, that was something that I was like, these guys, not only am I going to push them to be better and we can make something that's really special, but also I know they're going to push me to be better too and be the best that I can be.
It's very well said. I think, luckily I had a great, village growing up. My parents, my family, they always believed in me, very, we're prayer warriors, but that was a big thing for us where, from a young age, they told me I could be anything I always wanted to be. I think most parents tell their kids that, you can be anything you want to be, put your mind to it, I think from a young age, I knew that I was going to do something in the world. I didn't know it was going to be sports. I didn't know it was going to be whatever it may be. I knew I was going to do something. And when I got the opportunity to go to Penn Charter, which definitely was one of the biggest milestones of my life, the coach came up to me and a couple of my teammates that I was playing for, and he invited us to the camp, went to the camp, performed really well, met some of the guys, met Chooch for the first time that weekend, and met Joe for the first time that weekend. And I was like, yo, like I belong here. I can hang with these guys. I came from a public school in New Jersey, going to a, predominantly white private school in Pennsylvania. I was like, it's kind of eye opener, but being able to see myself stacked up against myself, I'm like, I can do it. And then when probably that following year, my freshman year, I knew that like, oh wow, like I can really take this to the next level. I can get myself to college. I can get myself to where I gotta be because, one, I believed in myself, my family believed in me, but two, I was able to work with the guys, kind of just keep myself competitive as possible. Like, freshman year, I didn't really take people as my friends. I saw you as like competition. I saw you as, I gotta beat you. And that kind of just made me realize, like, yo, I can really do this thing. And never look back from that point. So.
Yeah, so again, all three of us have played off-season ball. We've played summer ball.
Right.
We've lifted. We've done all that with a bunch of different teams. And something I've always noticed was that, if you stay in the area, you're counting yourself out. And meaning, like Taney, that's who I play for. I'll always give a shout out every single time.
Shout out Taney, man.
But it's about branching out, going to see other players play in different areas, whether you're on the field with them or watching it, playing with multiple different teams / people. Camaraderie has always been a big thing. Have you guys seen any differences and even different styles of play based on where you've been? I know Cellucci, you've traveled a lot recently, and I know Adam, you've traveled your entire life.
No, absolutely. It's pretty crazy because there are different ways that baseball is played in different areas. I mean, from the baseline, it's just like there are some places where they can play year round and they're able to do that. But from styles of play, the West Coast, a lot of the UCLA, USC, I noticed a lot of those guys are really good at small ball. They're very good at getting that bunt down to get a guy over to put him in scoring position, stuff like that. And then you also have guys coming from the Dominican and Hispanic countries where they play a whole different way as well. It's like a power. it's just like power versus power there. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it
Actually
as hard as I can. You're going to swing as hard as you can, and we'll see who wins. And then, like, we also have guys coming from the Asian countries, and they play a lot of different. You'll notice that a lot of Asian pitchers have similar tendencies that you won't see the same way in American pitchers. And the same thing for their hitters as well. So it's beautiful in a sense as well to see how not only can baseball impact the world, but impact the world in different ways.
100%. I mean, the game is definitely, we always say the game is global. We want the game to be, not just a national thing. Obviously, we pride baseball as one of our, predominantly main sports in the USA. But in reality, outside of that, we want it to be a global game. And like Chooch was saying, you can go to drop in any single country, any single state, any single region of the world, and you'll find like, oh wow, they play this way, they play this way, and they play that way. And I think that as you start to go and explore out these places, as you start traveling to these places, you're going to realize like, wow, like we should probably take some tips from them. We should probably take some tips from them. And I think ultimately you're just building the game. You're just growing the game, and the biggest thing we want to do is grow the game. So seeing different players, different backgrounds of different tendencies, of different skill sets, ultimately it's only going to make you better as a player, as a coach, as a scout, as a recruiter. But the game itself will be able to last forever if we keep doing that. So I think that's a big thing that I've been seeing, especially in the last couple of years that I've been traveling or just watching on TV or whatever like that. Every circles I've been in, I've been able to watch that and see it firsthand.
So, Adam, I know you're working for Perfect Game.
Yes.
And obviously, you're in Double-A for the Red Sox. Congratulations on that big come up. Also, that's huge.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
There's a lot of things. I know there's not going to be one thing that you can say that motivates you, but I know that there's always something in somebody's life that's like, okay, like this is actually the reason why I want to keep pushing. Like above all, above Kobe, above all these things, like there's always something that happens in your life that changes your outlook. Do you guys have any different type of moments?
Man, there's too many, honestly.
Yeah.
But if I can just narrow it down, if I can narrow it down, for years, there's always been a stereotype in a way for, if you play a sport and you go play a sport like that they're going to label you as being that thing. For years I was a basketball and baseball player. Everybody wanted me to be a baseball player or a basketball player. That was my identity for a little bit. Obviously not for myself, but other people looking in. And after I left high school, I was able to play baseball at Rutgers University, and transferred from there, and was able to still be around baseball, playing with a bunch of guys and like that. But everybody when I left Rutgers, they were like, "Oh, like, well, you're not playing baseball now, so like, what's left of you? Like, well, what's your importance now? Or like, what are you gonna do now?" I always knew baseball, sports in general, wasn't gonna be my end all be all. I knew I was intelligent enough. I just graduated summa cum laude with a 3.88, so I knew I was intelligent. I knew I was smart, and I knew I was able to talk to people. I knew I was able to make connections. I knew I was able to be, comfortable speaking or being anything I was unable to do. Put my 100% in. I knew I was gonna be good at, and that's kind of been my driving factor. Like this thing for the last couple of years has been more than an athlete, and in reality, I've always seen myself as more than an athlete. I've always seen myself as more capable of doing more, as long as I stay prayed up and stay focused on what I want to do. So that's kind of been my main goal for the last couple of years of like, people see me as one thing, but I'm so much more. So much more. And I think that, all of us at the same time, we're more than what people try to put labels on or identities on us. So that's kind of my driving factor, definitely, I think recently as I've been, an adult, I would say. So
Dude, that's beautiful. Well said. More than an athlete.
yeah, definitely.
I think for me, I mean, coming honestly a little different from how you said it. To be personally, I don't see myself as anything else than what I want to be. I mean, I grew up loving this game. I want to make. I want to be the best.
Right.
Like and everything that I want to do with it, with like motivational speaking, having an impact on other people, can come from that. Another big factor that it comes into it is just my mom. Shout out Babs. She's done so much for me in my life, like and she works so hard, and that part of that is my motivation too. It's like the idea that there's no other way. Like there's not another path. It's this path or it's nothing, and that's what kind of also helps my motivation to work so hard too. Is it's just it's plan A. Like, you remember Quad A,
Quad A,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
my
Plan A,
boy
man.
Quad A that we grew up together. He played basketball at Kentucky and then Washington, and he had this whole label when he was in high school, Plan A. There's no Plan B, and that's how I look at it. Is like, it's baseball. It's what I want to do in this life, or it's nothing.
And I think, sorry to cut you off, but I think that's great personally because, you know, like I said, people are always like, well, you need a plan B, C, D, you know, Z. And like, that's good to have those things. You know, obviously you always want to have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
You always want to have something that you're like, okay, in case plan A, the miraculous chance plan A doesn't work, what else am I going to do? But I think if your plan A is so strong and you already worked out all those plan Bs and Cs, but inside your A, like you said, baseball is your ticket. That's your drive, that's your focus, that's your passion, that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
You've been able to do everything you always wanted to do while baseball has been the forefront, has been the focus, the centerpiece of your life. And I think that's how a lot of people need to get sometimes. I think some people kind of lose sight of that. They're like, oh, if I don't make it to the league, then what else? Well, if you don't make it to the league, you do know that like you've been around a bunch of different other athletes, a bunch of different other voices and networking opportunities where if you're not going to actually be physically playing, you still can be a part of it. You still can be have a hand in it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a great way to look at it because I think for me personally, that's kind of was my thing. Like baseball I didn't end up in the league, but now I'm able to, you know, impact, enhance, and touch on, you know, young amateur athletes, share my experiences at the same time, you know, kind of just let them go and experience life the way I did it. But it's kind of been great to just be a part of it and not actually physically playing it. So.
Yeah, have an impact on
Right,
others as
exactly.
well. It's you hit it on the nose right there. And the thing is also with like, if plan A didn't work, I'd figure out a plan B. I'd figure out a plan C. But the thing is if I'm thinking about that right now, that's just taking my mind off of what's most important.
100%.
And we got to focus on what's most important.
100%.
I definitely agree with all that. One thing is, I feel like a lot of the older generation are people that are the ones that want you to have that plan B,
Right.
plan C, whatever. I feel like that's honestly my parents for sure were ones who wanted me to have the whole alphabet plan.
Right.
But I've always agreed with that mindset, and that's something I've actually never heard was the plan A thing. I think that's awesome because I'm somebody who's always put my all into like one thing specifically, and it might look bad because it's like, what if that doesn't work out? But the one thing I can say is I feel like I've had a lot of plan A's, and I feel like I've always, every single new plan I come up with, even if one's a failure, the next one is still plan A.
Right there.
Because like I feel like there's like no changing of script. I'm still doing what I need to do, maybe even better now.
Right.
So maybe this is a better plan A.
Exactly. It's more in the sense it's not really like a plan A, B, C.
Yeah.
It's like a plan A and like, okay, plan A didn't work out how I wanted it to. How can I go from here? So it's a new plan A. It's like, it's not like if something doesn't work out for you, you're just like, all right, I'm taking that part out of my life and moving on to something else. No, be persistent. Go after what you want. I think sometimes you got to make adjustments. Sorry.
No, you got it. And I think that's a great way to look at it because, you know, the road's never going to be straight. Like you're never going to travel, you know, from point A to point B. You know, it's not math, it's not stats, not geometry, it's not algebra. Sorry for all my former math teachers out there. So stupid. But I mean, it's more so like, you know, like you got to really think about it's life. Like life is going to give you so many ups and downs, so many lefts and rights, so many different paths, so many different, you know, occurrences and opportunities for you to, you know what, maybe I see myself going from A to B, but I might take a little detour. Or, you know, I might take it myself or something might force me to take that detour where it wasn't in my plan A. But now, like you said, don't just scrap the whole thing. We just get back on track. Every GPS, make the wrong turn, go the wrong way, got to make a U-turn. How am I going to do it? You don't just turn the car off and sit in the middle of the street like this, waiting like, all right, some point's going to get
time to go somewhere else.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you want to get to your destination. So you're going to be like, all right, how am I going to regroup? How am I going to detour? How am I going to reroute myself to get back on my plan A and continue going forward? So I think that's how you should be.
I definitely, I think all that relates to mental toughness, mental fortitude, making sure your mind is healthy at all times. Because if it's not, when you have to do that detour, that's when everything can collapse. That's when the GPS turns off.
Right.
That's like something that I feel like, honestly, a lot of people don't talk like about with athletes. Like you've said before, athletes are looked at as an athlete. You play baseball, you play basketball, you play football. That's what you are. And that's something that I think has always like caused a lot of issues within sports programs and players themselves when they go to a college. For example, Cellucci, you went to Tulane. I would love to hear your experience, and also you at Rutgers, of being a part of a team and like also having real life stuff going on that can cause issues and like maybe can hinder your plans.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that I try to express when it comes to mental toughness is like it's not like a movie. Like I love movies. I think the beautiful thing about movies is that everything happens in them. You have a rising action, climax, something crazy happens, falling action, and resolution. That's not life. Life is not like a movie. It's a bunch of ups and downs as it goes. So my experience with like through college and stuff like that was filled with ups and downs. And I like to express that and be vulnerable about that because of the fact it helps people understand that, okay, you overcome some adversity. It doesn't mean that's it. It doesn't mean that you're good and like life's going to be smooth after that. It means you're going to get hit again. And what are you going to do when you get hit again? And then if you overcome that, you're going to get hit again. Like it's just how it is.
Yeah.
So when I was going into college, I mean, I was actually like, I know you both know this, but I'm perfectly fine talking about it on the podcast. But basically, I cheated on a test in high school, and I was told that I wasn't allowed to come for my first semester of college, which was really hard because that first semester, that's when everybody gets to know each other, especially with a baseball team. You know how it is.
Man.
Everybody gets to know each other. They become family. So everybody's out off at college, having fun, partying, stuff like that. And I'm at home busting tables. It's tough. And then I hit rock bottom. And rock bottom was tough because basically I felt in that moment, like during that time that I was home, that it couldn't get any lower. And then one time I was driving and I had a seizure while I was driving. I have epilepsy, for those who don't know. And I was on the side of the road and I was just sitting there. I was like, I could have just died just now. And that was where I was like, wow, like we really need to figure out where to go from here. We need to figure out how to overcome this because this is not it. This is not how it's supposed to end.
Yeah.
So struggled through that, struggled as a freshman at Tulane because I was just out trying to prove myself from not being there that first year. Had a really bad first year. And so at the end of the year, I meet with my coach. My coach calls me in the office. He says, hey, we're going to take your scholarship away because I performed so poorly. And I mean, at the moment I was like looking at like, why me? But that happens a lot. And like the kids need to know that, especially going into college, is like,
Definitely happens a lot.
it's a tough business. Those coaches are there to win. And if you're not
It is a
helping them,
business.
if you're not helping them win, okay. So I go out with my throwing partner at the time and I tell him, I'm like, hey man, I'm going to come back next year and I'm going to get drafted and I'm going to get out of here because like I'm not running away from this. And that was what happened. Now, granted, that wasn't the end of the story. I've still had 3 years under my belt in minor league ball where things have gone up and down. I've called Adam multiple times saying, I hate this. I want to quit this. This sucks. But that's how life is. And you just got to keep rolling with the punches. And you got to understand that things going to come your way. But are you going to run towards it and run through it? Or are you going to run away from it and be stuck in it for a longer period of time?
100%. So, wow, you have me really sitting there thinking about like all the time.
Sorry, I went on a rant for a little bit. My bad.
You got me in my bag right now.
I'm like, oh, God. But nah, to that point, Chooch, and Oliver, to your question, you know, especially being a college athlete, first of all, being a college student in general is hard. You know, being a student in general is really hard, especially in America. You know, like anywhere really, but it's definitely been hard. Obviously, you know, you guys can feel it firsthand, you know, whether it's loans, whether it's clashes, whether it's, you know, just getting up in the morning, you know, whether it's going out the night before, you're like, oh, I got an exam tomorrow. It's just tough.
Yeah.
All right. So that right there is already one side of mental health that we really need to focus on. It's like, wow, like being a student is hard. Being an athlete in college was truly probably the hardest thing, I think, to date right now that I had to do. Going into Rutgers my freshman year, you know, I wasn't really, amongst the other freshmen that came in, I was kind of already like, not behind the 8 ball, but I wasn't really regarded as one of the guys, you know. I wasn't really like, oh, he's coming in, like, this guy's coming in on campus, like, we got to watch out for him, you know. Nobody really knew about me. I was kind of, you know, on the back end. I kind of was low-key about it. And, you know, I came in and hit me with a rude awakening. Like, never in my life have I sat. Never in my life have I had multiple at-bats of just striking out and not even coming close to winning the ball. Never in my life have I had to lift so hard and not being able to lift up a weight. Never in my life have I fail a class or, fail a test, or never in my life was I not the fastest guy on the team. Never was I not the smartest guy on the ball field. All these firsts were coming and hitting me like straight just to my face. And it was hard. It was hard for, an 18-year-old kid, who's not everything handed to him, but, has always been on top of his game on the ball field. And to not have that is really tough. And I think a lot of young athletes are seeing it now, that when they go to these campuses and they go to these big name schools, that, you're just one of many. Like I knew Adam Holland was one of one. I knew I was one of one. I knew I was good. But there's 20 other Adam Hollands on the field right now where it's like, Jesus, like, this is tough.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first rude awakening where I was like, wow, I really had to like lock in. So after my freshman year, I redshirted, battled some injuries here and there. My coach sat me down. He was like, hey, I don't know if this is going to be for you. I don't know if this school is actually for you. And who wants to hear that when you come in on a scholarship and you're like, wow, like my coach essentially doesn't want me here. And it wasn't like they were giving me the help that I needed either. It wasn't like they were giving me constructive criticism. It wasn't like they were giving me, criticism on like, hey, how about we fix this? Mechanical issues. It wasn't like they were giving me, hey, we're believing you like that. No, they were just beating me down, abusing me verbally, and just basically telling me like, you're not good enough. Don't know why you're here. Not really giving me opportunities. So that's hard as an 18-year-old kid. And you kind of feel alone. You can talk to your parents, you can talk to your teammates, but it's hard when you're the only freshman, the rest of your teammates are getting playing time and, having fun, traveling away on weekends. You're sitting at home, working out by yourself or with two other guys who weren't traveling that weekend. It's really, really hard. We had a sports psychologist on campus, and I, really appreciate him. I think I spoke to him like once or twice, but in reality, that time right there was where I was able to talk to my brother, talk to my inner circle, talk to my family about, moving forward. So my coach gave me that ultimatum, sent me away for summer ball, and he was like, I hope whatever happens in the summer, contact me, let me know what you want to do. I knew I was going to stay at Rutgers. I knew I belonged there. I knew I was worth it. So, obviously praying a lot, working harder than anybody, and I mean anybody, I'm 2-3 days sometimes, I'm waking up at 5, I'm not getting back home till midnight. I'm eating a bunch of meals a day, I'm throwing every day, I'm running every day, I'm hitting every day, I'm doing everything under the sun that will prove to them, one, prove to myself that I belong, but two, prove to them that I belong. Yeah. Come back sophomore year, best shape of my life. My coach tells me, hey man, you have a new attitude about you, you have a new aura about you. And I'm like, I know I do. Like, this is who I am, it's how I naturally am. Yeah. But, I'm gonna prove it to y'all that I have this. And, I'm coming in on my high horse, my mental health is good. I'm like, man, it's great to go. He tells me, hey, I need you to run a 6.6. I said, 6.6, 60-yard dash, I said, all right. For those that don't know, baseball players run 60-yard dash, not 40-yard dash compared to football. So I need to run a 6.6. 6.6 is pretty solid. I'm like, all right, bet. Come back, run a 6.6. I said, check it off the list. He goes, hey, I need you to be the strongest guy in the weight room. I come back, we're doing deadlifts, strongest guy in the weight room. Lifted the most, like 625 or something like that. Everybody's like, man, check that off the list. They should be on top of your A game in the class. Got my first 4.0 semester. Top of the team. He's like, all right, I need you to be the best teammate ever. Being a leader, helping everybody. I'm cheering everybody on, doing everything. I'm doing every single thing they tell me to do. They could have told me, I need you to touch the sun and come back. I would have found a way to touch the sun and come back down to earth. You know what I'm saying? So I did everything. Everything. He's like, man, you showed me everything you need to do this year. You're going to be getting a lot of time in the outfield. I'm starting a couple games. So I'm like, man, bet. Like, I did everything I need to do, but I'm still going. I'm still going hard. I'm still like, first weekend comes, we're in Miami, and he like brings me into the office, and he's like, hey, Adam, like, you made the roster to go to Miami. So I'm hyped. I'm like, I'm smiling. He goes, but just know, like, you only made it because so-and-so was hurt. Crushed me. Killed me. Like, I mean, like, put a dagger in my heart, bro.
Was that even necessary to say?
Thank you. I'm like, bro, you just made me work harder than anybody here. Proved everybody that doubted me, I proved them wrong. Proved myself right. Family's proud of me. Got my parents getting tickets to go to Miami to see me play. I'm like, yeah, man, I know I'm gonna play this weekend. And coach just does it to me. And I'm like, I go to Miami, I get 1 AB. Throws me in the very last inning. And I'm like, dude, like, and the rest of that year, bro, just destroyed me mentally. I was like, I just did everything I could, and you just threw it away in a sentence. End of that year happens. I get, I think, 5 ABs the whole year. Play like 2 innings in the field, just rough, just like eat me up inside. I'm like, man, I'm crying. I'm going home crying. Call my mom crying, call my brother crying, call my dad crying. I'm like, yo, I'm done here. Like, baseball's not it for me, clearly. Like, it's not for me. And like, obviously, like, it's a lot of your mental. was able to transfer, long story short, able to transfer, really able to come back to myself, able to, get back to my roots, get back to my family, get back to my friends. Went to a junior college, had a great junior college, COVID hits. Talk about mental health right now. I mean, I don't want to keep rambling on, but
No,
long story
seriously.
short, man, I mean, like, getting hit, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. And don't be afraid to speak out, man. Like, I remember it was New Year's night on 2020, and I was able to speak out with my friends. And I cried in front of my friends and said, yo, I love y'all boys, man. Like, y'all kept me grounded. My family kept me grounded. And having that village, people around you, bro, truly is, important. And, for anybody out there struggling with mental health, people want to help you. People love you. People care about you. So I care about you. I love you, man. Juice will tell you firsthand, I'll be vulnerable as can be. But, that's just kind of a little bit about how I was able to, get through my trials and my struggles. But, just keep going. Just keep going, man. I promise you it's going to be good. So.
All right, so we're going to take a little break after that. We'll see you later at Usla Media. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here again with Adam and Cellucci. So we're going to build off of what we were talking about prior to the commercial break. You brought up also injuries. We've all had them. I'm pretty sure I still have a torn shoulder and back. But there's something that have always stopped people from becoming their truest self. We've seen major athletes get some really bad injuries, and then bam, they're not going to be the same ever. If you've had any injuries, I would like to hear about them, and also how you got through that. And do you think it hurts you in any type of way to get better or get to your full self?
It's I mean, coming from around a lot of guys, especially pitchers, guys get injured all the time. I mean, there's a lot of Tommy Johns out there. There's a lot of tendonitis, things that happen with the arm. And the one thing that I didn't really notice until I got to pro ball, until we started playing every day, was just how much maintenance you need on your body. I think if you wait till you get injured to really start taking care of your body, it's too late. You should really be doing a lot of preventative work and stuff like that. But I've never really had any serious injuries, knock on wood. But I mean, this last at the very end of this past year, my elbow was really hurting me, and I had to take obviously we finished out the season, went through that, and then I got it looked at. And I had to take some time off, and I had to do a lot of rehab for it. And the rehab process is, I think, more mentally taxing than physically taxing because. First of all, you want to get back to 100% as quick as possible, and it's a big waiting game. You have to be patient, and also you need to understand that you can't do everything. Sometimes, some days you'll have to go in there. You'll do 3 exercises, and that's it. And you need to rest and let your body recover. And it's the patience sometimes doesn't fit in with that. You really I want to be back. I want to be better. I want to do more, especially coming from high work ethics. You want to do as much as you can. But when it comes down to it, the advice I'd have for anybody when it comes to going through an injury is that you need to be patient, and you need to make sure when you do heal, you're continuing that preventative work to make sure that you're not going down the same road you just came out of.
Yeah, I think that's probably that last part, probably the biggest thing. Once you quote unquote heal, or once get back to the point where you're able to play again, or able to do what you got to do, where it's lifting or in sports or playing the sport, continue to care about your body. Continue to try to make yourself stronger and stronger so that we can prevent those injuries. We always say in one of my group chats, the best ability is availability. Being on the court, being on the field, being able to play every day. Or, regardless, or if it's if we have 7 games in a row, being able to play at least 6 of those games, obviously would be great to do. I dealt with a couple injuries in college that definitely, I definitely felt that kind of knocked me off my game a little bit, was able to, kind of pull me back from whether it was starting or, playing more. And a lot of it is, I would say, mental, because you really can't control what happens to your body. You control how well you prepare, how well you take care of your body. And like I said, my sophomore year, I thought my body was in the best shape of my life. And probably about a couple weeks before winter break, pulled my hamstring. And honestly, I might have torn my hamstring, how bad it was in my gut. But like, I was just trying to get back out there, show them that I can do it. And obviously feeling pressure from other people, outside sources, you're trying to get back. So that definitely probably was the biggest injury that definitely really happened to me, and kind of really, I would say, really not derailed, but definitely kind of hindered, whether it was my speed or my power, was, my hamstring issues. But, being able to get through it definitely is, like you say, you gotta be patient, man. You gotta be patient. At the same time, you wanna be out there. Hopefully your teammates know you wanna be out there for them, fighting for them, grinding with them, battling with them. But, if you try to rush back into it, you're only gonna hurt yourself, only hurt your team, possibly hurt your future. Like you said, so many athletes now have, careers cut short because they try to rush back, or careers cut short because they didn't really properly take care of their body while they're hurt, or before they're hurt, and after they're hurt. So, that would be my biggest message for people that are dealing with injuries. Stay patient. But just take care of yourself. Do the right things. Eat the right things. Make sure you're going to your your rehabs and your go see your trainer. All right.
Definitely, yeah, go see the trainer for sure. But so speaking on the younger generation, I think us three can agree we've all really tried to make impacts on a lot of people's lives. Me, I've coached 12U baseball and then 13 to 15U baseball.
Right.
I love that feeling that you get when you help out somebody who's younger and naive and going through some stuff. It's something that if you get to experience it yourself, you should, because really seeing their mindsets grow as you grow is something I've really seen help me. I would say I learn more than the kids that I'm actually teaching, and I would love to hear about your experience with Perfect Game and dealing with some of these like studs, honestly, these young studs.
Yeah, when you say it definitely teaches you more about yourself than it does the kids. I mean, I've been in Perfect Game for the last roughly 2 years now, and for guys that don't know, Perfect Game, we're a baseball scouting service. A lot of MLB players played in Perfect Game tournaments. A lot of college players played in Perfect Game tournaments. We are the biggest and the best baseball scouting service in the country. Don't care what anybody says. But, dealing with, every single weekend, we put on tournaments and showcases for amateur baseball players. So we deal with kids from age 8 all the way through 18. Our job is to get kids to, the best colleges, and some kids, to the pros. And being able to just deal with the influx of, young talent and kids that even aren't so talented has been really rewarding. It definitely brings me back to my day when I was 12, when I was 13, when I was 15, traveling the country. And, being able to just offer anything to them, that's kind of been the greatest, feeling. The parents always come up to you like, thank you so much for talking to little Billy. Thank you so much for talking to little Robbie about what we did, but about what you did in your past and how, it affected them. But it's been a great feeling being able to kind of take some kids under your wing, really kind of like, I see some kids that I met when they're 10, they're now 14. I know some kids who just committed to college in 8th grade that I saw when they were in 6th grade. So, seeing the growth, the maturation process of like them just being better and them just being better than you were, and kind of help them be better than you were, truly has been the best, I think, thing about Perfect Game that I truly love. So.
And then Cellucci, I know you had just talked to a bunch of younger kids at a school. I would love to hear about your experience with that.
Yeah, so yesterday I went to Friends Central. I talked to the baseball team there. I think like you hit it on the nose very well. Is like, I think one of the biggest reasons that we as humans, like especially in athletics, are becoming better, stronger, faster, and stuff like that, is because of the influence that people who have already done it can have on those who are about to do it. So like being able to work with a kid or talk to a kid and tell them about my experiences, the mistakes that I've made, what I've learned, and see them like learn that before it hits them. So that and you can always like you said, you can always tell like they respond in a certain way.
Definitely.
To really like let you know that they understand it. And like seeing that response is the best feeling in the world, like regardless. So yeah, no, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I went and talked to them yesterday a little bit about my story, kind of like what we talked about, where adversity will strike regardless. And it's not about never having adversity. It's about being able to overcome it and learn from it. And being able to do that and talk to them was just a rewarding experience.
Yeah, and also something that the viewers might not know is that you have 3 podcast hosts sitting here right now. And
Definitely do.
you know, you had started up yours before, honestly, I started up mine, and it was a huge inspiration for sure on me and knowing what I want to do, how much I love sports, trying to figure out which way to go with it and how to build on it. And then you doing it for school, you know, how did it come about? How did it start? Was it an idea and then it came to fruition, or?
Yeah, so I mean, a couple years ago when COVID hit, I started Letters by Lucci. For those who don't know, it's kind of just a side Instagram where I post things that speak to me, post like motivational videos of me just talking, things that have affected my life. And the one thing that I kind of noticed is like the last thing I want to do is like solely have the spotlight. Like I have the spotlight on the field as a pitcher. That's all that matters. But coming from a standpoint of I don't think that I have all the answers. I know that I don't have all the answers, and I know that other people have something to bring to the table as well.
100%.
So I really wanted to start a podcast to be able to have other people talk about their experiences. So the whole idea, it's called Think Outside Yourself, because I want people that I value, people that I respect their opinions and stuff like that. I want them to come on and talk about their experiences, what they've learned. And it doesn't have to be from baseball. It can be from all walks of life. Adam was the first one on my podcast. I've had actors on there. I've had other athletes on there, like not just baseball. And like, that's just the whole idea of it, is that I want people to get a perspective from someone other than just me, you know?
Right. Yeah. And go check it out. Go check out the podcast. Super dope. A lot of laughs. Not just mine. I mean, mine's definitely the best, but definitely go check it out. I did a podcast last year when I was on campus. I was at Delaware State. Me and my homie Yachty. Go check out our new podcast, Yachty's Take. I'll make sure I'll give you the link. But that podcast stemmed more from, I was a digital media production major. And my end goal in life is to be a news anchor or sports anchor or a sports broadcaster. And that's always been something I want to do since I was young. So the podcast kind of was like giving me practice and kind of giving me a little bit of, get my feet wet on this. So our podcast was more about social issues, more about what's going on in the world, because, we only hear about usually, stuff that's going on inside of America. So a lot of the stuff we talked about stuff in China, stuff in Turkey, stuff in Africa, stuff in Hawaii. So it was really a dope podcast because it allowed me to do research outside of stuff that I already know. I know about sports, I know about actors, I know about movies, I know about, cryptocurrency, whatever it is, but I wasn't really learning about other stuff that's going on in the world that's really affecting other people outside of myself, outside of my close friends. So the podcast is really dope. We had, I think, 10 episodes, or maybe more, 10 episodes. And, able to, kind of just learn about other cultures, other backgrounds, learn about, stuff that's going on in the world really helped me out a lot as a human being. But at the same time, I think for people should go and listen if you really are, trying to learn about other things that are going on in the world. So that was the podcast was about.
Yeah, I definitely, I think that podcasts have become like a huge thing, honestly, recently. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people were like, for a while, just looked at it as honestly nothing. People just thought it was a voice and that's it. And now it's becoming like a big thing that everyone's videotaping it. You get to see people live. You get to like see their expressions. Everything's happening so quick and like on social media with it. YouTube's the biggest platform right now. Literally. You can find anything you want on it. And I think it's allowing people to connect in a deeper way and have these like tougher conversations when it comes to like, hey, it's not all like sunshine and rainbows when it comes to like being an athlete and like being in sports. And something I have always tried to do was let people know like what I have to say. I do not care how you take it, but I will tell you.
That is one thing, Oliver. He's not lying. He's not lying about that one, man.
I will tell you how I feel, but it will come off the most genuine that I possibly can be.
Right.
And that's what we're here for. We want to see people succeed and do something greater. And that's something that I saw in working with younger people, is that I told them to do things that I wish I was told when I was younger.
Right.
Not having the opportunity, maybe people telling me the wrong things and like trying to like push me a certain way.
Yeah.
You guys definitely all have both of you definitely have an idol. Everyone has an idol.
For sure.
My idol, I would have to say, is my dad. He's been through it. He's been through life, and he's taken all those different plan A's that we're talking about and pushed through. Who is your idols?
I mean, like I kind of touched on a little bit before, the work ethic from my mom, being able to support, always always putting food on the table, always making sure I can go to school, have a normal childhood. That was something that I will forever be in debt to her for. But from the sports side, I mean, like I said, it was Kobe, and from other aspects, it's people that I feel like resemble the same type of qualities that as Kobe. I mean, guys like Dame Lillard, Stephon Diggs, stuff like that. You see the guys out there like that. They're like, it almost looks like they're fearless, and that's when coming from an athlete. When you see someone on the field that has a fearless mentality, they're pretty tough to beat. Pretty tough to beat. I'll say one. This kid I play with, Tristan Cassis. He just made his debut this past year. That kid's afraid of nobody. Nobody. And coming from a sport where hitters fail 7 times out of 10, it's pretty scary when you have a guy up there that doesn't seem like they're gonna fail 7 times out of 10. So that's the whole thing. Is like that. That's what I admire. Is I admire people that really just like know that, hey, this is just a moment in time. If I fail, okay, it happens. If I succeed, good. But then we just got to keep working. But regardless, I'm not going to go in here scared of anything.
It's a great outlook. Funny story about Tristan Cassis. He had a homer at Lake Point in Georgia when we were 16, and I caught it on the walkway. You're a stud. But honestly, idols. I have to throw it out there, man. That kid's nasty. But honestly, obviously my parents have been my biggest, people I look up to the most and have taught me the most about life, especially my father. So they're always, in a realm of their own. I don't put anybody near them. Yeah. But in reality, my idol definitely would probably be my older brother, Evan. He really has been like the blueprint for everything I want to do. Obviously, if you see a picture of me and Evan, they're like, you guys twins. But in reality, I've always wanted to be like him and better than him. So he's always been my driving factor of just kind of just how to take care of your business, go about your business on a daily basis, be an athlete, be a man, and just kind of be a good friend and be a good brother. Always trying to help somebody. So he's always been he's been like my moral compass, I would say. But in terms of athletes, I think you guys all know who this answer is from my idol is LeBron James, no doubt about it. Man, AD King, man, it's the GOAT.
Biggest LeBron fan out there.
Biggest LeBron fan, know that. But in reality, I mean, I feel he's just been a model citizen, and it's a model athlete. Honestly, I think when we look back 50 years from now, and we have walkers and canes, and we're in retirement homes. I think in reality, people are gonna really realize how big of an impact he had off the court of basketball.
People are gonna like look back and be like, "This isn't a real life."
Because
like literally, the man has not made a mistake in his life.
It's just really like it's gonna be really hard. And I think insane. That especially for young athletes, obviously there's a bunch of guys out there to go. Got the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's and Muhammad Ali's and the Bill Russell of the world. Of course, you got Derek Jeters of the world and obviously stuff like that. But for me personally, I think he's just been somebody who, he's done everything the right way. Yeah, he never cheated in the game, never cheated his family. He's been a great father figure. He's been a great son. He's been a great friend to everybody. He's always putting his people on. We always joke about, whenever we make it big, we're gonna bring our boys with us. Yeah. That's somebody who's really done it, made it bigger than anybody ever has, and he's brought everybody from the village on. So I think that's definitely a model, somebody I look after.
So we've all had these big moments in sports that like. Playing sports that we've always like cherished, and it could even just be like the time with your team. I would say one moment for me that like I cherished the most was ESPN Worldwide senior year. I mean, you guys specifically because I was on the bench, tearing it up, absolutely tearing it up down there. Yeah. It wasn't about not being on the field for me. It was about being with you guys, camaraderie, the love we had for each other. That's why we were so good. Right. It was because of that chemistry and that 100%. Love. And it was that entire experience that made me like realize why I started playing baseball at 2 years old. it's because of that. Do you guys have any of those best sport moments?
Yeah, man. I mean, I got two for you.
Cry.
I got two for you real quick. I'll try and breeze through this as fast as I can.
Yeah.
But one was when we won the Interac.
Yeah.
Senior year. I mean, I pitched that game that we won, that we clinched against GA. Granted, we kicked their butts that game, so it wasn't it wasn't super interesting. Yeah,
GA will always stink. Sorry for GA guys.
But I mean,
Always.
the fact that we had always been like the top dog, and it was our year. It was our senior year. Like this is what we came here to do, and we ended it on a high note, and that was something that was pretty special to me. Another one was a game this past year, and it just it kind of like revamped like how much you love winning.
Yeah.
So I came in and we're at home and it's 0-0. I come in the bottom of the 8th, have a good 1-2-3 inning, bang, let's go to the next thing. The bottom of the 8th comes because we're home, we don't score. So I go back out in the top of the 9th with it being 0-0. First dude hits a double off the wall. So I'm like,
He loves getting the leadoff guy on. Come on, man.
Fly ball, guy tags up, goes to third. Ground ball, we get the guy out at home. And then I strike the last guy out, let out a big scream. Crowd goes crazy. It was awesome. It was a great moment. And it was towards the end of the year. So it was I think that was the last time I pitched at Greenville's Field. So it was a special moment to end on. But the coolest part was that in that bottom half of the 9th, our leadoff guy, Corey Rozier, he hit a walk-off homer. And we ended up winning that game. And it was it was such a fun game. It was, like you said, it takes you back to that passion for winning, that camaraderie with your teammates. And that's how that game really played out. And I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, that I love going to those games, man. Great games. I would probably pick two moments out. First moment has to be 2017 Penn Charter baseball team. That whole year was just a fever dream. Felt like, it didn't even feel real. Like we were that good.
You didn't want it to end.
I'd never
You never wanted it to end.
I mean, I don't think I've seen you cry that much when the season ended. I'm not gonna lie, but I cried too, guys. Don't worry about it. But
We'll pull up the picture that I have on my Instagram of me hugging him.
Definitely, yeah. That's
a good
what I was
picture.
thinking about when I said it. I was like, I remember that picture. But that year as a whole was the definition of just love. Like we all loved each other, man. Like we really loved each other. I think that's how true championship teams are. They pull for one another, they fight one another. We were always ready to fight somebody. So they mess with one guy, the whole team's ready to go. In reality, but also the fact that we were so good, but the fact that we loved seeing everybody else do better. I remember when we had the privilege of starting and start a bunch of games on the mound, but when we would get up big and we get taken out the game, nobody pouted, nobody got upset. Nobody cared about the stats or whatever like that. But the next guy would come in and they would get a hit, they make a play, whole bench would just go crazy and scream. Oliver was the best teammate you could possibly have. I mean, this man was he was our DJ, biggest hype man. But when he got in the game, everybody was pulling for him, everybody was fighting for him. When he wasn't in the game, he didn't sit there and complain and cry and I'm a senior. No, he just wanted everybody to win. So that year as a whole, I mean, I can take any moment from that year, and that was just chef's kiss. And then my second moment probably would be, shout out my Rutgers boys here. My first career hit at Rutgers. I've told you guys the whole story about the whole life, whatever. But I had my first year, my sophomore year, and my team just truly, I could just feel they wanted me to be great. They wanted me to be great in that moment. They were pulling for me. They loved me, man. They were just, every single one of them, I got a hit, got on first base. They all were just screaming, Holly, attaboy, baby, love you, man. And I say being a part of a team like that where your guys want you to succeed almost more than they want to succeed themselves. I think that's true. Just a great moment in sports, man. It makes you feel good as a person, and just honestly as a staff, you're just wow, this is the kind of ball club we want to be around all the time. So those are probably two moments I would say I loved.
So that's a wrap for our episode. I really, really appreciated you guys being here and giving me your guys' stories, because I think a lot of people are gonna love them. But of course, before we end, we have to talk playoff football.
Let's get it, man.
We have to talk about it.
Come on, let's get it, man.
So when this episode comes out, the Saturday games have already happened. So you guys can hold me accountable for my picks if they're not true afterwards. We can talk about it afterwards. We can hold myself accountable later. But to start off, obviously we've got the Birds coming in versus the Giants.
Yes, we
They've
do.
got them minus 7.5 favorites.
Okay.
How are we feeling about this game? Who do we like?
I mean, you want me to be real? I mean, all right, I'll be respectful. I'll take my bias side because I am an Eagles fan. Eagles will win on Saturday, right? Saturday night they play.
Saturday.
Eagles will win Saturday night. They will win 34-17. That'll be the final score of the game. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Keep it short.
I'm gonna say the Eagles are gonna win. I think they'll cover. I don't know if it's gonna be a high scoring game or low scoring game, but I think they'll cover the spread.
Well,
So
I don't really know betting, so that's why I say cover the spread or cover the spread, whatever.
You got
that's
it.
the score.
31-17. That's the score. Book it Sunday. But I'm gonna break it down like this. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. I do like the Eagles to win this game. I do like them to win the game. Do I like them to cover 7.5 points? That's where I'm a little scary. It's divisional game.
Okay.
Divisional game. They haven't played like a full game together in almost a month, it feels like.
Okay.
Do we think Jalen Hurts is still hurt?
Great question.
I don't think he's 100%. I don't think Lane Johnson's 100% either.
I don't think either. I don't think they're 100% either. At the same time, I do believe that they're healthier than they were the last time they stepped on the football field.
Definitely.
And I know that we get a couple starters back that I think is going to make a difference for sure in that game.
I also really like Smitty touchdown.
Oh, boy.
I think Smitty is 100% getting a touchdown. I think Saquon touchdown. I like Saquon touchdown. I think that they'll get in the red zone and he'll make a big boy play.
100%.
Big boys do.
I mean, you know what you need a book, right? Boston Scott, anytime touchdown.
Anytime touchdown.
That's a giant killer right there, man. Giant killer.
You know
Why do you think it's all over social media right now? They know everyone's going to bet it and then it's not going to hit.
You want to know low key a good anytime touchdown is Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes running one in. That's a good one.
I could see him like it. Did you see this? There was a video that came out of him ending practice like yesterday. I think it was. He started hitting the gritty.
He better not. He better not.
Oh my
He better
God.
be careful. He gonna run for his life. That's like, boy, that front four comes great. He gonna be struggling. He gonna be struggling on Sunday, or Saturday, but hey, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
And then next game that's also on Saturday. It's actually before the Eagles game, but it had to touch on the Eagles first always.
Of course.
We've got the Chiefs Jags. Chiefs -9.
Okay.
At home. I personally think Travis Kelce touchdown is a lock every week.
Every week.
So I'm gonna have to go with that. And Pacheco.
Ooh,
I think he's getting a touchdown. I think he's an absolute dog.
Yes. Jersey right there. That's Jersey. Pacheco, Rutgers man, my boy, Demon. And I'm also, slightly a Chiefs fan. Shout out Dan Williams. Assistant to Andy Reid, my family friend, coach for the Chiefs. So I do have a Chiefs and Eagles bowl. That's for later. But I do have the Chiefs winning as well. I like the Pacheco score. I like the Travis Kelce. He wake up in the morning and score. So I don't know. That's all he knows. But in reality, I look out for Jerick McKinnon. Had Jerick McKinnon in fantasy, right? Had him in fantasy. Had him on and off fantasy. Greatest fantasy player ever, clearly. Book him. Jerick McKinnon scoring.
There we go. I like that.
I like the Chiefs, but barely though. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think
You like +9? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a shootout because, bro, look at this man, Trevor Lawrence. Look at what he's doing right now.
And that Chiefs defense is terrible.
He's not as good. He's not as good as Patrick Mahomes. However, he's becoming pretty. It's Dougie P. It's Dougie P. He's sticking himself in the top 5. Bro, he's a talented QB regardless. I will say, I think the Chiefs are going to win just by a little, but also however many over-under touchdowns Trevor Lawrence has, pick the over. Pick the over.
I like it. I think that the Jags, I think Trevor will have a good day.
Yeah.
Hopefully much better than he had last week, because if you think you can go into Pat Mahomes' house and throw 4,
and then you might get already out of the game.
You might get wiped off the face of the earth. Pat Mahomes will immediately go for 4 right back at you.
That's the thing. So you can't, you have to score.
Yeah.
Because you can't stop the Chiefs from scoring. You have to score.
So that's I think it'll be a high
That Chiefs
scoring
defense
game.
is Swiss cheese right now, though. So I think that they can tear them
They
up.
were never, defense was never like that. So
No.
I mean, the Jags are going to put up points for sure. That's going to be a higher scoring game.
I think so, too.
I mean, I definitely think Pat Mahomes and company comes in, takes care of business for sure.
And then You
So
got
I
it.
was gonna say, how about the Bills Bengals game?
I was gonna get to that right now, baby.
Right
You've got Bills -5.5 versus the Bengals. Wow. I was the biggest Bengals supporter. Go back to the second episode. Biggest Bengals supporter. I'm scared right now because they have 3 offensive linemen missing. They've got 3 backups
Yeah, they
running.
do.
If that Bills defense, like if they put pressure, if they exert, but the thing is, Joe Burrow's been on pressure time the entire
cool,
time.
bro.
Yeah, ever since he's been in the league.
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know if it will have that big of an impact. I personally think after reevaluating situations that the Bills really just have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and that could fall apart very easily. And I'm gonna have to still smack the parlay of Diggs and Jamar touchdown.
I like that. That's smart. That's a smart parlay out of you. I think it's going to be a shootout for sure. I think we would have got a glimpse of that from that Week 17 game that they had. Yeah. I think there definitely would have been a glimpse of that.
Yeah.
But I think they come back this week, and I really like the team that scores first, honestly, because I feel like whoever scores first got a lot of momentum. You know, I feel like they got a lot of momentum, and it's going to take one. I think Josh Allen is very, very, very careless with the football, which I feel like Joe Burrow will capitalize on. I still don't really know who I'm going to pick, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox. That's a nice little mob over there. But then again, you know, Joe Burrow got a 4-headed monster with Mixon, Boyd, Higgins, and Jamar. So it's like I think personally, I would like to see the Bengals win. I want to see the Bengals win.
I would too.
I would.
I agree.
I would.
I also think they're the only team that can kill the Chiefs. I think that
They
I
have
think
their
that the
number.
Chiefs will steamroll the Bills, and I think that the Bengals will put up the only fight that can stop the Chiefs from getting to Super Bowl.
I can respect that because I don't think Chiefs defense can just. It's just too much over there. The Bengals have too much firepower.
Too much firepower.
But at the same time, only one team is Pat Mahomes. So that's my thing. That's my thing.
Okay,
That's my
okay.
thing.
I'm gonna have to go with the second best quarterback in football right now, Joe Burrow. Louisiana made. I will, bro.
It's a hot
I'm telling
take.
you, I know it's a hot take.
Listen,
I know
I
it's
can
a hot
see him
take.
being
I've
MVP
argued with
next
Jay
year.
about this.
Respect
He
it.
is better right now.
Okay.
Now, I know that's a controversial pick, and we don't have to get into that. But no, I think another piece that we haven't said yet is also that this is supposed to be a neutral site game, and is it?
But I think if the Chiefs play the Bills, right? If Chiefs win the
No,
Bills,
no,
right?
no, no. This
No.
this game is supposed to be neutral site, but it's not because of the game that never ended with Hamlin.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that it's not a home game for the Bengals, I think they're a little like they might have some juice coming off of that. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure, that's what the case is. But I think the Bengals are a little pissed that they might not have like the advantage there, and I think they might come in hot. They might come in
I
hot.
respect it.
And then last one, we've got the Niners Cowboys. Niners coming in at -4. I think absolutely slam Christian McCaffrey touchdown. No matter what, he is running it right now. Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant, baby. He's looking so stud worthy. Like I honestly think the Niners are going to the Super Bowl personally. But yeah, they're also on a 10-game win streak.
Whew. That's for sure.
So
That's for sure.
I would say that. What about how do you guys feel?
You got it, man.
Cowboys stink. So like, 49ers are going to steamroll them. That I don't think the Cowboys will score more than 10 points.
Oh, God.
Dak Prescott interception.
Dak Prescott interception over. Whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
He'll have at least 2. Shout out Terran. But no, in all seriousness, like you said, the Christian McCaffrey is definitely hit. George Kittle's been cooking too lately.
He's
George
cooking.
Kittle's a good one.
That's without honestly, he started cooking right when Debo was getting a little injured and stuff, and then they started using him more instead of pass blocking and stuff.
I was about to say the same thing. Kittle's been on a tear for the last probably 6 weeks. I guess
I would say.
So I would definitely book CMC touchdown because I mean he's literally Superman at this point. Book Kittle touchdown for sure. Niners, I definitely think they're going to wax. I mean,
Yeah, I think wax.
the Cowboys.
I think wax.
I'm not gonna lie. Niners definitely a little. They a little scary over there, but when they see my birds, it's gonna be a real showdown. But I definitely have Niners beating the Cowboys. Brock Purdy, he's been exactly what they needed. You know, he's came in. I'm not gonna go all crazy like every other analyst is going. Like he's amazing. He's been very solid. He's done his job, made the right throws, right reads, and it's been kind of just going with the motions. You know, when the energy's high, it's very easy to jump on the jump on it when the energy's high. You know, so you have a good team, good system. Or to Michael Parsons, you know, it's very good for him to, hop in there and do his job. So he's doing a good job. But Niners definitely win it. CMC touchdown, Kittle touchdown. Be careful. I think Debo runs. I think Debo gets a touchdown.
Debo takes one?
I think Debo gets a touchdown.
Rushing or receiving?
Great question. He's Swiss Army knife. So I'm
does
gonna go with a
Shot
little.
in the dark.
I'm gonna go with a little maybe like a screen or a little across the middle.
I like that.
Something simple.
So yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for listening to Having Juice with OJ and having these 2 stars to come onto my show. Please go down, subscribe, like, comment, everything. And thank you so much. See you guys next week.